So I think you got the first page. Now we are moving to our second page. Already we have done this. What we mean by this is solution of equation 1 we want to talk of. So how do we find out the solution of equation 1? We have to bifurcate the given equation in two parts. What was our equation? F of d operated on y is equal to capital X. This was our original equation. We bifurcate this equation into two parts. One is f of d operated on y equal to 0, and the other is f of d operated on y is equal to x. So this particular is a homogeneous differential equation that is associated with the given equation, and this takes care of the right hand side. Now the solution of the homogeneous differential equation is known as complementary function. Already we have done. We are now familiar with how to find the complementary function for some kind of equations. What you observe is now if I take care of f of d operated on y equal to x, what I mean is I want to find out the value of y. So it is as good as I operate both sides by the inverse function of f of d, meaning thereby 1 upon f of d. So if I operate by 1 upon f of d on f of d, the effect is cancelled and I'm left with y on the left hand side, and the right hand side is 1 upon f of d x. I suppose you are getting me. I repeat, I have a polynomial operator f of d on y, and right side is capital X as we said. Now both sides we are operating by the inverse differential operator, that is 1 upon f of d. So right side will also be 1 upon f of d operating on x. So what you are left with this 1 upon f of d cancels the effect of f of d, and left side I'm just left with y, and right hand side is 1 upon f of d operating on capital X.
Capital D.
Capital X is what? Function of x. Is it okay? So this particular is a particular integral. In this there are no arbitrary constants. You get particular values, and that is why it is labeled as particular integral. And both the complementary function and the particular integral together means we have to add them. That gives you the general solution of equation 1. Now first we are trying to see what are the methods to find the complementary function. So given equation 1, we rewrite it in either in the form of 2 or in the form of 3. So we are considering the associated homogeneous differential equation. F of d operated on y is equal to 0. So you know very well, d is the differential operator, and this f of d is a polynomial in terms of the differential operator. It being an operator, you know, you cannot interchange the places. This is not merely a product. See, you have f of d operated on y. Can this be equal to? Can this be equal to y into f of d? Can this be? There is a question mark. Yes, anyone? Come on. Can I write instead of f of d operated on y as are you there? Yes, anyone? Okay, I got your problem. You are not able to visualize what is f of d, so I would like to help you for this. All right, just see. I rub this. Okay, and suppose I'm dealing with a differential equation, d2y by dx square minus 5 dy by dx plus 6y equal to 0. How would you write this differential equation? I think you'll write this as d square, isn't it? Minus 5d. I think you're familiar with this. We have done it. And plus 6. Extremely sorry. Yeah, and plus 6. And then you say operated on y is equal to 0. So whatever I have written here in this bracket is nothing but your f of d. Okay. So can I write this as y multiplied by d square minus 5d plus 6? Can I do so? Yes, can I replace the upper one by this lower one?
Yes.
No. No. Why? Why? Because after the operator, whatever I write gets operated. Here, y is in multiplication with d square. So what it seems like, y multiplied to d2 by dx square. And what is the operand here? Nothing is there. Okay. If nothing is there, we'll call it as 1. d2 1 by dx square. What is the value? What is the second derivative of 1 with respect to x? Yes.
0 असेल का मॅडम?
अगदी बरोबर. कॉन्स्टंटचा डेरिव्हेटिव्ह काय येणार? 0 येणार. म्हणजे आपल्याला जो पाहिजे इफेक्ट तो काही इथं मिळत नाहीये. म्हणजेच ऑपरेटर आणि ऑपरँडची जागा बदलून चालणार नाही. है ना? कम्युटेटिव्हिटी कधी असते? ज्यावेळेला दोघं एकाच लेवलचे असतील तेव्हा. पण या ठिकाणी एक जण ऑपरेटर आहे, दुसरा ऑपरँड आहे. सो वी कॅनॉट इंटरचेंज देअर प्लेसेस. सो बी व्हेरी शुअर. We cannot interchange. We cannot write y times f of d. Got me?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, one more thing. One more thing. I got just the nature of this and I want to simplify it. To simplify it, what I'll do, I'll adapt its nature. What is the nature that I see here? I see in place of d if I write m, it looks like m square minus 5m plus 6. Now why m? M is just a token representative. It is just playing the role of a polynomial expression. So what it gives you? M square minus 5m plus 6 that you have learned in your school. Okay. And now if I write into y equal to 0, what this will mean? Will this y have any effect of this m square minus 5m plus 6? No.
No.
There is no effect on y. So y, this into y is equal to 0 will mean this bracket must be 0 because the bracket has nothing to do with y. It doesn't operate on y. And y being the variable, every time y cannot be 0. So just the nature is followed over here. Means we are doing this in dummy. This m is a dummy. So we will call it as auxiliary. Okay. खेळण्यात तुम्हाला माहिती आहे, लहान मुलाला एखादं जर खेळायला आपण घेतलं तर आपण म्हणतो तू लिंबू टिंबू. म्हणजे काय? त्याला आपण कन्सिडर करत नाही. हो ना? सेम वे m is auxiliary. So it is producing auxiliary effect. It is just giving you token kind of thing. So you can, I think, factorize. The factors should be such that their product should be +6 and sum should be -5. So what it will be? Already we have done this. M minus, come on. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So these are the factors that we are watching. M minus 3 into M minus 2 means I can write this original equation in this format. It gave me an idea. I can write the operator as D minus 3.
D minus 2.
Yes, D minus 2. Just a minute, I would like to change the ink. D minus 2 and then operated on Y is equal to 0. Do you all agree? So the differential equation now I have written in this fashion. So I can bifurcate this. I can have two different equations out of this. What are they? I'll get D minus 3 operated on Y equal to 0
0.
and D
D
minus,
minus 2
yes,
operated Y is equal to 0.
yes, this kind of equations I've got. So what are these equations? Let us see. D stands for d by dx. Okay, and if I operate here, it becomes a dy, means dy by dx. Do you agree?
Yes.
And minus 3 is just a multiple. So 3y is equal to 0. Now, what I observe here, x is absent. There is only a term in y. So I can read it as dy by dx is equal to 3y. Can I do so? What I find is this is a variable separable form. I hope you remember it. You have already learned it. So you can read it as dy upon y is equal to 3 dx. Do you agree? Now how to solve this differential equation? You have to integrate on both sides. So you integrate on both sides. Now what will be the integration? You know, dy upon y. What is the integration? Yes, anyone? Okay, reverse way. I'll ask you. What causes the derivative as 1 upon y? Whose the derivative is 1 upon y? What is the function whose derivative is 1 upon y?
M log y.
Agdi barobar hai, log y. So integration of 1 upon y will be log y. Very good.
Log Y.
Yes, it is log y is equal to, this is going to be 3 is just a constant comes out of the integration sign, and this is integration dx. So what is the answer?
X.
X, very good. 3x you got. And now you need to add the constant of integration. This being log, we take the help of constant of integration in terms of log. So let us call this as log C. And because we are having two equations in hand, actually, there was one and this one. So let us label them by 1 and 2 suffixes. So let us call this as C1. Do you agree?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what I'll do is I'll bring this log to this side. That is the basic thing. Log y minus log c. So you can use the laws of logarithm. Log y minus log c1. What is this? By laws of logarithm? Log of? Yes. Difference. Log a minus log b. What is it?
Log A upon log B.
Y minus C1.
9. Y upon C1. It is division.
हाँ, y upon
Y upon
y
C1.
upon c1.
Yes, very good. And this is equal to, what is left over here? 3x. The other side will be 3x. I feel you are getting me. I just reduce this in log, and what I'm left on the right hand side is with 3x. Do you agree? I would like to adapt the next step then. Okay, doesn't matter. So this is 3x, and we reduced it just now as log of y upon c1 is equal to 3x. Do you agree? I think now it's okay. Yes. Have I written correctly? Okay, only one response.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And now let me take the antilog. By taking antilog, what do I get? Y upon C1 will be equal to e raised to 3x.
A raised to 3x.
Yes. So the value of y I'm getting is C1 times, value of y is C1 times e raised to 3x. I feel you got me. Okay. Is there any question regarding? Any doubt?
No.
Okay, it's good. So what we did was we solved d minus 3 operated on y equal to 0. What you observe here? This is the linear factor, d minus 3. And when it operates on y, what we are getting is simply y equal to some constant times e raised to 3 times x. Okay. So similarly, if I solve d minus 2 operated on y equal to 0, what I'll get? Y is equal to some constant. So let us label it by something else. We call it as C2, second constant. E raised to, come on, this 2.
2x.
Yes, this will be e raised to 2x. And finally, what we'll do? We will add all the results. So y equal to C1, e raised to 3x, and y is equal to C2, e raised to 2x. All those are summed up, and the complete complementary function you get is y is equal to C1, e raised to 3x plus C2, e raised to 2x. And what we say next? Where C1 and C2 are arbitrary constants. What the fact? Already you have practiced this. You have enough practice of finding out complementary function, how it comes, why it comes so, why we are writing so, that I have explained you just now. Is this okay? This is the reason behind it. Now let us try to get the explanation here. So coming back, to find the complementary function, what we do, we write the associated homogeneous differential equation. From it, we write the auxiliary equation. We factorize and get the values of m, which we call as characteristic roots. Suppose the characteristic roots are m1, m2 up to mn. Because the degree of your equation is n, you'll get n roots. Okay. Now we have to go next. So just a minute.
मॅडम ते परत दाखवा ना ते सॉल्व्ह केलेलं.
सॉल्व केलेलं दाखवते. सॉल्व्ह केलेलं. काय केलं आपण पहिल्यांदा फॅक्टराइज केलं, ऑक्झिलरी इक्वेशन काढून, आणि परत मग डी रिप्लेस केला. 2 इक्वेशन्स मिळाले आपल्याला, 2 फॅक्टर मिळालेले असल्यामुळे 2 इक्वेशन मिळाली. 2 इक्वेशन्स व्हेरिएबल सेपरेबल फॉर्म मध्ये असल्यामुळे डायरेक्टली आपल्याला उत्तर मिळालेलं आहे, आणि याचं उत्तर आपण या फॉर्मॅट मध्ये आणलं. दॅट्स ऑल. So if you want to take a screenshot, I would like to reduce it. Yes. Ready? Over?
हो मॅडम.
Okay. Now let us go to the next sheet. So we are now discussing the types of roots. If the roots are real and distinct, if the roots are real and distinct, we can factorize this way. Just now I showed you. We get n different equations as here. We write them, and the same procedure I have explained over here. So we get variable separable forms. Okay. We express them in logarithmic form and then take the anti-log, and combining all, we got our, yes, one thing I have to mention here. See, y equal to c1 e raised to m1x, y equal to c2 e raised to m2x, and so on. Y equal to cn e raised to mnx. So c1, c2, cn are arbitrary constants, but m1, m2, dot, mn, they are all distinct real roots. So these functions, they are linearly independent functions. Already this we have learned in linear algebra last year. Okay. So y is equal to, you can see in this example, you got c1 e raised to 3x and c2 e raised to 2x. So e raised to 3x and e raised to 2x, they are always linearly independent. You cannot write e raised to 2x as a multiple of e raised to 3x. Neither you can write e raised to 3x as a multiple of e raised to 2x. So they are linearly independent ones. Okay. So this was the only new fact here in this third one. Shall I move? I have already shared this to you. You ready for next?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let us go to the 4th page. Here I have explained when the roots are real and equal. So for sample, what we did was we have taken two values equal and rest all are distinct. So m equal to m1 comma m1, then m3, m4, and so on up to mn. These are the real roots. So what happens? You get the associated homogeneous differential equation in this format. Okay. So d minus m1 bracket square y equal to 0. Next will be single d minus m3 y equal to 0, and so on. What happens in case of this square? Let us see. So what happens? D minus m1 operated on d minus m1 operated on y equal to 0. Okay, let us call this equation as equation star. Have you got this fact here? Are you getting me?
Yes.
Okay. So d minus m1 into d minus m1. So when we are writing it like this, It is just operator operated on another operator. Okay.
Operated and operated on Y.
Yes. Now this inner I have bracketed as a square bracket, you see. For this, let me call as V. D minus M1Y. Let us suppose it is some V. What will happen then? This will be
V
outer.
minus M1 is equal into V.
Yes, of course. The outer operator operated on V equal to 0. Means we have replaced the square bracket by V. Now let us open it. So what you got? dV by dx minus m1v is equal to 0.
0.
Yes, again in variable separable format you brought it. Then again integrated it. After integration, what did you get? Log v minus log c1 will be equal to m1x. Just now you saw how to do this. Okay, both sides we integrated. Integration of dv by v is log v. The right side is m1x plus log of some constant. Constant we are adding in the pattern of log. And that we brought to the left side. This will be our usual practice. So log v minus log c1 is m1x. Using laws of logarithm, we can write it as log of v upon c1 is equal to m1x. Taking anti-log, we got v is equal to c1 e raised to m1x. I hope you got it. Here I think there is no doubt. Now what we have to do? Put this value of v back in our equation star. So if we put it back in star, what will happen? So that is on page number 5. Let us go to. So page number 5 we will take now. Okay. So just a minute. What you observe here? dy by dx minus m1y is equal to c1 e raised to m1x you got. Do you agree? Do you
Yes.
agree? In the earlier equation, we have noted it down. So it again becomes a linear equation. You can, if you want, I'll enlarge this. This was what we had. See, we are putting the value of v here. D minus m1 operated on v is equal to, okay, in equation star we are writing. So this becomes a dy by dx minus m1y is equal to c1 e raised to m1x. And what happens is, this is a linear differential equation of first order. Do you agree? dy by dx plus p of x times y is equal to q of x. This already you have learned in 12th also and in FY also. dy by dx plus p of x, function of x, times y is equal to q of x. So the value of p of x, as you observe in this case, is minus m1. And the value of q of x is the right side, c1 times e raised to m1x. How to solve this kind of equations? You have to find the integrating factor. Integrating factor is what? E raised to integration p of x dx. So we put the value of p of x. It is minus m1 only. What is the integration then? E raised to minus m1x. And the solution is given by solution of linear differential equation is always given by y into integrating factor is equal to integration of integrating factor into q of x with respect to x and plus constant of integration. Let us put the values. So y into e raised to minus m1x will be equal to integration of, I put the value of I, e raised to minus m1x into c1 times e raised to m1x dx plus constant of integration c2. Now this e raised to minus and e raised to plus, they cancel each other. And you are simply left with c1. So this becomes integration of c1 dx plus c2. And you get in hand y into e raised to minus m1x is equal to c1x plus c2. I suppose you are getting. Now I want only the value of y. So let us carry this. So we multiply by e raised to plus m1x both sides. So we got y is equal to c1x plus c2 times e raised to m1x, where c1 and c2 are constants. So this is what we have learnt already. If m1 is repeating twice, I get a polynomial with two terms into e raised to m1x. If it repeats thrice, here I have shown m1, m1, m1 thrice, then it becomes c1x square plus c2x plus c3 times e raised to m1x plus the remainings. Got the fact? Any doubt here?
नाही.
Okay, very good. And the last thing comes is of complex roots. So that also I'll show in short here. The last one, the complex roots, let us see. So I hope you are ready. If the roots are complex, they will be of the form alpha plus minus I beta, because you know complex roots always occur in pair. Your equation is so please rejoin for 10 minutes. Please rejoin. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So okay. If the roots are complex, just now I told you, they occur always in conjugate pairs. So if m is equal to alpha plus minus I beta are the roots, then our homogeneous differential equation will have roots of this pattern: y equal to some constant into e raised to first root alpha plus I beta times x plus some constant times e raised to another root alpha minus I beta times x. we can see here, we have denoted the constants as C1 dash and C2 dash. So what happens next is, by the rules of indices, we can write it as what? C1 dash e raised to alpha x into e raised to I beta x plus C2 dash times e raised to alpha x into e raised to minus I beta x. E raised to I theta is a complex, exponential form. So it can be written as cos beta x plus I sin beta x. The rest things are as they are. Here also, it being minus, the middle sign becomes minus. So cos beta x minus I sin beta x, and outer things are as they are. Now we want to combine these two. So what we find, both ways you have cos beta x and same way sin beta x. So let us combine the terms. Throughout e raised to alpha x is common. In the bracket, if I take cos beta x common, what I'm left with, this is C1 dash here and plus C2 dash here. And plus, sin beta x I have taken common. So what I'm left with is I times C1 dash minus C2 dash. So this is what we are getting. We know I is a constant, C1 dash, C2 dash are also constants. So we can replace this particular by C1 and this particular by C2, as I have said here. And y takes the form e raised to alpha x in bracket C1 cos beta x plus C2 sin beta x. Got this? What this means is, if at all the characteristic roots are complex, then e raised to real part times x comes out times C1 cos beta x plus C2 sin beta x, where beta is the imaginary part. Okay, so if suppose I'm having like this, m is equal to, I got 2 plus minus 3i. Suppose I'm getting roots like 2 plus minus 3i. Then what is the complementary function? It becomes e raised to real part in bracket arbitrary constant C1 times cos 3x plus C2 sin 3x. Got it? I would like to repeat. See, what we do is we consider the homogeneous equation associated with the given one. We factorize and try to find out the roots. If the roots happen to be complex, they will occur in conjugate pair. I got two roots here, 2 plus 3i and 2 minus 3i. You can say 2 is the real part, 3 is the imaginary part. In that case, have to write the complementary function y is equal to e raised to real part times C1 cos 3x, 3 is imaginary part, plus C2 sin 3x. Got the thing? And why it happens so? We have seen the explanation just now. Why it happens so? Explanation is here. What we do is we go by our usual method. C1 dash times e raised to, first root times x plus C2 dash e raised to second root times x. We solve it and we reach to this fact. Okay. So every now and then we'll be directly writing roots in this fashion because we know the derivation. If anybody asks you to derive it, then you have to go for this. Otherwise, directly we are writing this. Got it?